All right. Hi, Alex.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm doing all right.
Okay. Well, as you know, this is our last session, so I thought we could spend some time talking about, just doing an overview of everything that we've talked about in previous sessions and just kind of check in and make maybe a little plan for.
Okay.
How does that sound?
That sounds all right, I guess.
You're curious what I have in store.
I am. I am curious. I'm not sure what happens next. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've only been working together for 5 sessions, and this is our fifth, and we decided to try some brief therapy. So, but we don't have to talk about all that quite yet. Go ahead and tell me about your last week. If you could give me maybe a highlight and a low light.
Well, I know that we've been talking a lot about me getting out there and talking to someone, and I actually talked to a classmate. I talked to Steve.
You did?
This past week, and I wasn't as nervous as I thought I would be. And I guess we actually had some small talk, believe it or not, um, and I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be a friendship, but I at least was able to talk to him where it leads me. So.
In the first session, when we talked about your experiences with small talk, it was almost this sheer terror feeling. And the way you just told me about it, it seemed like you were pretty comfortable.
Once I started talking, I definitely was much more comfortable. I think that we must have. This is we've been talking about this for weeks, and every time I thought about it, I think there was plenty of times I walked away. Nope, not happening today. But yeah, and I mean Steve seems nice, and I'm sure we'll get talk more as the semester goes on.
Mm-hmm. What did you talk about, if I might ask?
Just about class, about homework, the teacher, and how the teacher grades or doesn't grade, and just our frustrations with that. It was kind of nice to just talk and talk about the difficulties of homework assignments and which ones were easy and stuff. So.
Which ones were maybe more time consuming or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've found in general, and I've heard other clients report this, that sort of coming together and venting, if you will, about assignments and school is actually a really great place to break into camaraderie.
Yeah, and so right now it's just we just chatted for a little bit, but I feel like there might be the start of a friendship there. I'm kind of excited about it.
Okay, good for you. What about the physical sensations that you had while you were talking to Steve? I know when we talked before, you were really sweaty, almost heart beating.
I know leading up to it, I was really feeling that, and even like I was pushing myself to even go up and say hi to him. It was just really, but once I started, I guess I just stopped thinking about it, and it wasn't as much of an issue.
Okay, so it's almost like you took the action that your dad suggested in the role play that we did together.
I don't know.
It's okay. Remember when your dad said, you just need to start talking to some people keep doing it until it feels good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and so I guess I just started talking with him, and I mean, I don't know if I would want to walk up to just a stranger at the store. I don't know what they would think or anything. I'm just thinking I was a really weird person just to talk to them. With a cashier that can't go anywhere. Yeah. He was trapped. So, but I definitely, yeah, it was definitely easier than I thought it would be to talk to Stephen. We had stuff in common.
Great. What about girls? Have you talked to any girls recently? Not necessarily in a romantic way, but has that opportunity arisen?
No. I definitely still feel anxiety when I think about doing that right now. So right now, no. But
okay.
think I'll just I'll work on a friendship with Steve right now. And I'm still trying to get over Jessica, so
yeah, I know that that pain still resonates pretty deeply within you. But an observation that I have is that you've started to bring her up less and less as we've continued in session.
I guess so.
Well, I know so. I mean, the fact that you told me about an interaction that you had with somebody else without sort of that idea bobbing in, I feel like that shows some pretty awesome progress.
Yeah.
Tell me about a low time you've had this week. Something that's happened, a stressful moment.
That's pretty low time.
You can do it.
Well, it's funny. I was talking with Kevin this past week, and I don't know. I don't think he quite understands what I'm going through, and he just really seemed. He wanted me to go out and play some football with him, and I just
just you two.
There was a bunch of people going out there.
Okay.
If it was just the two of us throwing a ball around, it might have been one thing, but I really didn't want to go. And he was really pushing me, and I just told him I'm not going, and I stayed and I worked on homework and trying to get my grades up. But and then I don't know about you, but I was like analyzing it the whole night, going, "Should I go out with him? What is he thinking of me now?"
Second guessing yourself.
Yes, yeah, and I just wasn't sure. And so,
Are you afraid that if you don't agree to his invitation, that they'll stop coming? Seems like Kevin pretty regularly asks you if you want to.
Yeah, but it's been happening more, less and less frequently. So.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? As they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. You can't please everybody. So I think one good stride this week is commendable. What about just in general your living situation? How is that feeling for you?
It hasn't really changed much. I'm a little more comfortable talking with the guys, but I'm still just trying to go through all this stuff, and I think that they recognize that, and they're kind of giving me some space right now.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, roommates that can coexist and be going through different things is actually, in my opinion, pretty healthy. And you're talking to somebody that's had a lot of roommates. One other thing I want to check in with you about, well, a few other things, but I don't know, I'm not in school, but I hear the end of the semester is coming up. So how, you haven't mentioned anything about being overwhelmed with school, and it sounds like you've been spending a lot of time on it. How's that been going for you?
Well, I think I'm really starting to turn around. I have a review coming up with my advisor with school, because I've been on academic probation with that, and and he sounds pretty confident that I've been able to turn stuff around, and my grades are looking a whole lot better than what they were. I may not be out of the woods 100% yet, but I'm definitely I'm not in danger anymore of being kicked out.
Okay.
So that definitely helps to relieve some of the stress and pressure that I've been having overall.
Okay. I'm really proud of you for grabbing the reins on that academic front and just deciding that you were going to do that, even if it's come at some of the cost of other goals that you've had. I know that theoretically you would have liked to been able to say yes to invitations of your roommates, or but I know what it's like to feel like you're kind of in school prison, and it seems like you've really handled all of those different priorities pretty well.
Yeah, and I'm just starting to really look at the fact that, school's for this period, and it's not going to last forever. So I just gotta buckle down. I mean, it does kind of terrify me, though, thinking about trying to make friends after school, and just, again, I mean, I know we talked about last time a little bit how in high school it was readily available because you're with us. I was with this group of friends. And so we were acquaintances or friends. It just came naturally. And at school, this is the first class I hadn't had with Stephen, but we'll be able to make friends with that. I'm not sure how that's going to look in the future with a job or anything. So it's just, it definitely makes me really nervous, and I'm just not sure how that'll look. But I guess I gotta take it one day at a time.
Okay. All right. I was actually, that's funny that you said that, because I was going to, I'm resisting my urge to jump in when you talk, as I've worked on. And I was going to say one day at a time. So there you go. One other thing is that it seems like you've been able to identify that there's really a light at the end of the tunnel.
Very beginning, I felt the pressure of everything going on, and was overwhelmed with the situations with my personal life, and I really feel like that there is light, that there is a goal I'm working towards, and although it's not very clear, I can see it. So I just hope it's on a train.
Yeah. I do too. I really do too.
That would really stick if it was a train coming at me with that light. So
that would really be that's not what I want to happen after our last session at all. I really don't want that news. Of plan for the break. So you're going to have a month free from at least the academic pressure. Do you have anything planned? Or two?
I forget. Are my parents up here? Are they down there? I forget what I said.
They're down there.
They're down there.
Well, are you going home?
Yeah, I'm gonna go home. Sorry, breaking out of character for you. It's been
a while.
Well, and sorry, out of character. The issue between trying to remember the other session and what she was going through, and her made up stuff. I made up stuff. And
I think I can relate.
Who am I now? I'm Alex. Okay. No, I am planning to go home. I'm gonna just try to spend some time with my dad. I think that we really could use some time to work through some things together. I'm really nervous about it, though, because we've talked about he can be kind of gruff, and I'm hoping he's in a good mood. It is Christmas time. I just really hope he doesn't fly off the handle or anything while I'm there, and we can just get along. It seems like the longer I've been away, the better our relationship has been, but I'm going back.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how a little bit of distance can actually do a lot of good, especially in such familiar relationships.
And I think that he was really upset when I told him that I was on academic probation. He'd be glad to see what I've been working with that.
I was going to ask, so you kind of get to go home and almost show him this figurative report card like a proud kid and say, look, I turned it around and I've made it out.
Well, considering I've been living and then I finally moving up here with Jessica, it really, and he was really glad to get me off my butt and trying something new, and then with the probation, I could see the disappointment. And
sounds like you could more than see it. You could really feel it. He was very outspoken in his disappointment for you.
Yeah, I guess see was an understatement, but but it would be nice to just spend time and relax a little bit, and really just continue to heal over this breakup, and just try to. And when I come back, I'm going to start new and just reorient myself and try to put Jessica even further down the road behind me, and just a blip on my overall life story.
That's beautiful. The way you put that was poetic, and also just really expresses how far you've come, even just in our short time working together. Do you also think that getting some actual physical distance from Jessica is going to help?
Well, as long as she doesn't visit her parents, we run into each other down there, because that would just.
I
don't want to do that.
I was going to ask if that were the case, but maybe not even physical distance from her, just from the actual situation.
Yeah, Yeah, I think this whole thing up here right now has been dealing with that breakup, and it'll be good to just be home, and I'm sure I'm gonna stay with Dad. I'm sure I'll spend time and go visit Mom a little bit too, and just get to see people that I haven't seen in a while and relax.
Yeah, sounds great. I am jealous.
Maybe have some good clam chowder. New England makes it the best.
Wow, that sounds like stomach cramps to me, but whatever floats your boat. And you'll get some. So tell me about your sisters. Have you been talking to them lately? How are they doing? Are you excited to see them?
If I'm honest, part of me does, don't let them know I miss them, you know.
Yeah, I have a brother. I understand.
But yeah, I don't think I ever named him, did I?
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, I do miss them. It'll be good to see them. I mean, it's just home for Christmas. I mean, it's the Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
I just hope it's more like a Hallmark movie and not like a horror film. And
yeah,
because I don't know about holidays at your house and your family, but it seems like it's more Christmas with the Cranks than it is the holiday picturesque Hallmark film with the snow falling.
You would be surprised how much tension and anxiety about family relations just skyrockets around the holidays.
Yeah, I think it's the close environments and everyone in each other's way in the space.
I think there's also just something to be said for that time of the year, having this pressure to have a perfect holiday or a perfect family or a picture even.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't really give you homework anymore, as much as that sounds fun to me.
Just what I want is more homework.
Sometime between now and when you do get on the plane to go home, I think it would be helpful for you to identify maybe 3 pleasurable activities that you would like to do during the time that you're on break. And I know it's homework, so it doesn't necessarily sound pleasurable, but one could be like reading a book that's not related to school, or going out with friends and maybe meeting up with an old friend, or taking your sisters, just the 3 of you, out to lunch.
Yeah. Hit up some of those restaurants that we don't get very often up here.
Yeah.
Like Panera Bread. Make myself hungry.
Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah.
You could do that. Get a Bloomin' Onion.
Sonic.
Oh, yeah. Lindsay's mom's hometown has a Sonic in it, and it's a very frequented spot. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about a plan for after you are finished with just, I guess, moving forward. When you're having days where you feel pretty tough and pretty down, how you feel like you might deal with that?
I forget, what was our last homework we talked about? Was it
just small talk, I think.
Just small talk stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's Alex. I don't know. I mean, you've been really just wanting me to just kind of get up and get out there. I still feel like there's a lot of days where I just don't want to do anything. I don't really know what I should do with that.
Okay. Do you think that any of the things that we've talked about here?
Well, I'm not too big into having conversations with myself.
Or an empty chair.
That's
understandable.
It felt really weird. Especially when the chair talked back to me. It just...
That was all you.
Yeah, no, I realized that. I don't know. Maybe it did help give myself a pep talk, because it really seemed to help spur me on even a little bit further.
Okay. Well, as you're working towards developing these coping mechanisms and also just feeling more comfortable in your own skin talking to others, I want you to know a few things. Number one, while you and I have made the mutual decision to terminate therapy after these 5 sessions, I am available for ongoing tune-ups, if you will, or catch-ups. So if you are interested in meeting with me at any given point, please give me a call. We would limit those to probably once a month to once every 2 months, but do know that that's still an option for you.
Okay.
I know that campus has a mental health center, so if you're ever having a breakdown or if you are just having a particular day, it feels like it's harder to get through than others, it's certainly your choice, but I would definitely encourage you to reach out. You one of those cards for there when you leave, as we talked about on our first session. And then I also just want to encourage you to, especially if you are having feelings of hurting yourself or hurting others, and that'll be on the same card that I'll give you for the counseling center, to call that helpline that we talked about, kind of off-hour stuff. I know some of those things tend to arise in the wee hours of the morning.
Been quite there.
I know that, and I don't think that's going to be something you'll need.
Okay.
But I think that you're pretty stable, and I've seen you make some pretty amazing progress during our short time together. But I am sort of required to tell you what safety net exists, even if you never fall off and need it. So in terms of moving forward and future planning, do you have any, I'd like to tell, if you could tell me a goal that you have for yourself for the next week. Let's start with that. Something you have.
Maybe connect with Steven again and see if we can talk a little bit more. Just hope I don't annoy him trying to connect after class.
And how have you been connected? Just face to face?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So you haven't done numbers or gone into text land or anything like that?
I haven't Facebook stalked him. Nothing like that.
Man. What's his last name? Maybe I will after you leave. Just kidding. That would be very unethical. Okay. Okay. I think that's an awesome short-term goal, really. And it's also completely reachable. Like we talked about with your Tree of Life activity and different people on it. That could be one of those reachable goals. Maybe you can add Steven as a leaf to your tree eventually.
Yeah, we'll see.
What about a goal that you have for yourself within the next month?
Well, finals are coming and all the work involved with that. So just really finishing strong and getting off of academic probation officially.
Staying the course.
Yeah.
Sounds like you've really done the legwork on that.
Yeah, but there's so much left with these last few weeks. I don't want to drop the ball and fail something and just have to start all over.
Mm-hmm. Again, though, when you and I first started meeting, I think the idea of it sounded like you would sit down with your work for a while.
Yeah, definitely. It was overwhelming. It was just kind of like an avalanche of stuff coming at me.
Yeah, it was almost like you were frozen, like atrophied. Mm-hmm. You just weren't sure how to take that first step forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you've really put one foot in front of the other.
It's been hard. And I just had to make the decision. I mean, even though I really want to hang out with Kevin and Brandon.
And the other guy. Mm-hmm.
And whatever the other guy's name was. Sorry.
It's all right.
I really had to focus on the schoolwork, and part of me wonders if I was just using some of that schoolwork as an excuse not to hang out with them too.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because you say that at the beginning you think you were using that as an excuse to not want to hang out, which I completely understand. That makes perfect sense to me. But now you're almost wishing a little bit, because you said a few minutes ago that you were second guessing yourself whether or not that was the right decision to commit to doing your homework and staying there and not going out with Kevin and
to realize that I need to Well, school's important. I definitely need to keep it as a priority. I don't want to. Life isn't going to stop while I'm working on my degree. I still need to keep moving forward, and I still got to find the time. I think that's the key there, because I don't know where it is, but find the time to hang out with people that are important.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with you. I mean, and remember that these goals that we talk about and everything, you really can ask of yourself is to just continue to keep working. Are you envisioning kind of an end of the yellow brick road, or what would it look like for you if you felt like all your problems were solved, or at least you were at a baseline where you were happy, healthy, and functional?
Well, I could talk happy, healthy, and functional. I don't know if I ever had a time when all my problems were solved. I think I'd be dead.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm getting at, is that this is all a process. It's not one day nobody's going to give you a big trophy and say, it's over, you're finished. I mean, maybe they'll give you a diploma.
Participation award.
Yeah, an A for effort. But it's not something that you... So just tell me kind of happy, healthy... Okay.
Well, right now, I don't think I can... I don't really know what life after school looks like. So I guess right now my end of the road, at least this road, is cap and gown, walking down the aisle, getting that degree. What are you making faces at me?
Walking down the aisle does not... I don't think of a degree, but that's okay. And
graduation, that's what I'm going with. Okay.
I know. Seems like you kind of looped in some romantic satisfaction there too, which is totally understandable.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just that it is that picture perfect ending, and I mean, a lot of movies end with they graduated and they moved on. And, well, what does move on look like? I don't really know what that looks like at this point. But one day at a time.
Okay, exactly. Do you think you see yourself eventually continuing to stay in Alaska? Is this where your heart feels at home, or is it more just where you've gotten into school? And
no, I really enjoy this more than back east in general, and it just, I mean, people are friendlier here. Pace is slower. I mean, we were talking about even last week about the traffic of Fairbanks, and that can bother me versus the traffic back home is just craziness, and everyone's in a hurry to get someplace, and I just don't enjoy that. It really gives me anxiety to be on the roads back home, and so I just would rather just take it easier here. And I enjoy the cold, and the snow, just a good thing. So.
And it sounds like the darkness is affecting you, but how does it feel to know that when you come back from Christmas, we're only going to be gaining daylight?
It is a big relief, because I mean, right now it's a week goes by and we've lost almost an hour, and you're just like, oh my goodness, and I can't believe how dark it is. Or you look outside at 5:30, you go, man, it must be 10 o'clock at night. What time is it?
I'm exhausted.
And you're like, it's only 5:30. It definitely, it tends to, it can wear on me. I think that's, it's just important for me to find the time to get out when I can, and enjoy it when I can, and when it's warm enough and I'm not going to freeze my face off.
Yeah, I really don't want your face to freeze off. That would be tough.
I'm trying to figure out. What time did you?
We still have 20 minutes.
Take a little bit. Give or take a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So
you're not getting any picture right there.
No, it's okay. I'm just trying to get it recorded.
You're blocked by that.
Do you have any questions for me about how therapy's gone or what you can expect in the future?
Well, I don't know. I don't feel like I thought that when I went into therapy, that we'd work through all my problems, I'd come out cured.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't really feel that though.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's still a bunch I need to work on.
Uh-huh.
But we're done. So I'm kind of nervous about that.
Well, I completely understand. And I would encourage you to, at any point in your life, especially if you're going down through a dip where things seem to spiral out of control, I would encourage you to seek out a relationship with a new therapist. But also keep in mind that, as we talked about, there really is no finish line. What we met here to do was to instill some coping mechanisms within yourself, which I think. Go ahead. Okay. Which I think you really have been able to muster. I think it's really been great to see, just in terms of the small talk, your ability to handle school, your ability to almost talk yourself through. I mean, some of the positive things that you shared with me in the way of now is not forever. I mean, I hear echoes of our previous sessions in today, and I can tell it brings me great joy to know that it's not just you here. This is the you that walks around all the time. You've definitely taken some great snippets from it. That being said, I think that we've done really the best that we can with the short amount of time that we've had. Early on, we agreed to a 5-session period, and you've stuck with that, and I honor and respect that you came. You really stuck with it every single time, even when it became difficult to meet with me. So I think that should be almost a small example of your commitment to your betterment and your wellness. And I just know that it's going to continue on. I've never had a client leave here saying they feel healed. Would you say you feel better than before?
Yeah, I would say I feel better. Maybe I just thought it would be more. I mean, this is my real first experience with therapy, so I just thought it would be more. But I do feel better.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I can guarantee that I've had different outcomes, but there are some clients that leave here saying, please, this can't be over, right? And they simply don't feel like they can continue to do the things that we've talked about on their own. And I don't believe that that's the case here with you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I feel like you've really figured out some stuff that you're going to take with you.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I'm not quite as anxious when I go to talk to people. At least people that I have something I know I have something in common with. I still don't know if I'd go over and talk to a stranger.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I know that that's really been hard for you, but strangers are pretty hard for most people, I would say. Yeah. Any other questions?
I'm driving you crazy, aren't I?
No, it's okay. Any other questions?
I don't have any other questions. Did you want to go over something else this?
Not really. I think I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm fine to cut it short. I don't.
If you want to wrap it up, I mean, I was having the same trouble last night with Krista.
It's like we've just terminated. Like, what else?
What I ended with was a summary of what we talked about. But
okay, all right, that's a great idea. Thanks. All right.
The client should be counseling the counselor.
Yeah. Okay, so you've shared with me what your takeaways have been from our counseling, and I would like to tell you, just as kind of a brief recap, and then I want to tell you what's really stood out for me.
Okay.
So, you presented initially with feelings of extreme social anxiety, and just in general, an extreme lack of motivation to do much of anything, including leave your house, get out of bed in the morning, eat at all, eat much. Your appetite had pretty much waned. Schoolwork was very hard for you. You weren't able to focus on it. You weren't able to get the concentration you needed. And on top, so you had that problem, and then it was further compounded by the fact that your anxiety was pushing you to a point where you felt like you just couldn't even face it at all. So there was that. We also talked about your relationship with your father and how that had really been disappointing for you, that you didn't feel like, number one, he was really upset with you about your academic probation and your inability to, I guess, perform perfectly in an academic setting. And that's certainly something I've heard before, but it seemed really extreme in your case.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to recap on all of those things, you have, through various role plays and through various, I almost think it's just been helpful for you to talk about it, just get those feelings out there and have someone listen to you and validate you. You've really been able to, first of all, almost start to enjoy talking to people. You've developed some confidence with it. I've noticed that your negative self-talk, putting yourself down, commenting constantly on, I can't do that, that's too hard for me, that's not something I can do, has all but completely gone away. So I'm really proud of you for making that progress in almost just having a better relationship with yourself.
I never really thought about that way, having a better relationship with myself. That's I like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
I can just get to know myself better. And yeah, I think that would really.
Would you say you've been having more conversations with yourself over the last 5 weeks?
Not like we did the other day was with the chair. But
that's pretty difficult. But I guess an inner dialogue.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much of it's always healthy and exactly, because I mean, I feel like I overanalyze and I'm very critical of myself when I make decisions, and whether it's good or bad, I'll dwell on it for a long time, and it can at times it's even been like I gotta step myself out of it just to do my studying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's working.
Yeah, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So. You know what? I think before you would have said, no, I don't think so. I don't think I would be good at that. I don't think I can do that. But I guess if that's the most positive, I'll take it.
That's what I got right now, is I guess. I don't know.
And I guess is more than enough.
Okay.
That still shows worlds of progress. Okay, so on that front, you've also completely gotten yourself turned around. You're pretty sure that you will be off of academic probation.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. That's really going to help you, I think, continue having a sense of purpose. How do you feel?
Well, I guess I feel pretty good. I mean, I definitely a whole lot better than when we first started.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, at least the end of the tunnel is here for this semester,
mm-hmm.
and it's within reach. I know if I can just keep pushing, I'll be there without too much worry.
Mm-hmm. So would you say you're proud of yourself?
Yeah. I guess I would say I'm proud of myself. Yeah.
Can you try saying those words out loud?
I just said them out loud.
Again.
I'm proud of myself. Yeah.
Okay. That's amazing to hear. Your relationship with your father, you've been very trepidatious about that.
And I'm still worried about how break will go, but I feel somewhat confident that we'll be able to just work through some things and hang out. So.
And at the beginning of the session, you told me you're actually excited to see him.
I am. I am excited to see him, and it could just be. It's home, you know.
Mhm.
I'm excited to visit home.
Mm-hmm. You are excited to visit home. I can hear that, but I can also hear that you're really excited to bring this news to your father. That you feel that he has, that you've dug yourself out of this hole.
Yeah, I mean, the disappointment that I really felt from him before, and I'm excited to be past that and just move forward with him.
What do you think his response will be? Do you think?
Well, I don't think he'll be doing backflips if that's what you're asking. I think he'll be proud. I don't know how much he'll show it. He doesn't really show any emotion besides anger, but I think he'll be proud of me.
Okay. Do you think he'll say those words?
No.
Or anything? Good job.
No, that's just not my dad.
At those moments, I'd like you to try to say to yourself, I'm proud of myself. We are not always going to get from other people, well, number one, what we should. We're also not always going to get from other people what we really need or what they ought to be able to give us. A father should be able to tell his son that he's proud of him. And I don't necessarily think that because he doesn't say that doesn't mean that's the case.
I mean, it would be nice to hear him say it. That's just not my dad, and he's never really expressed positive emotions towards me at all. So,
I think one thing I want to impart to you is that, and I feel like I've seen you, demonstrate that back to me, is that you can change your relationship with people or try to change your relationship with people, but we really can't change people.
Yeah.
Before, I mean, a case in point would be when your dad told you just snap out of it. Did that work?
Yes and no. It didn't work in the moment, but I took it to heart and tried to snap out of it. So.
You eventually came around to it.
Yeah.
But it was you that had to decide to make that choice.
Yeah.
So until your dad decides, I'm just going to be a more expressive, loving guy. What do you think is going to happen?
Until he decides that, same old. I less angry, less disappointed. And I mean, while I think he'll be inwardly proud of me, I think he'll still be somewhat suspicious, and I don't know if he'll fully believe everything until I'm done, until I reach the final semester, and I'm finally getting my degree.
Until you walk down the aisle.
Until I walk down the aisle. Yeah.
Will he be? Do you think he'll be attending that ceremony?
Yeah, I think he'll come for that. I think both my parents will come, and we'll see how that is with them together.
That will be very interesting.
It will.
I wish I could be a fly on the wall.
I don't know. You might get SWAT.
Have you talked much with your mom recently?
No, I really haven't recently. I let her know that I was planning on coming home for Christmas, but it was a pretty short conversation. I do look forward to talking with her a bit more. We've always been more of an in-person thing. Technology kind of eludes her, so in person works better.
I know how she feels. And I know that is the reason mostly that you haven't talked to your mom as much recently because you felt like she was dumping on you.
Yeah.
So I think that's even more progress that you made. You knew that during this time you needed to distance yourself from her a little bit so that you could focus on what you needed to do.
Yeah, so I'd agree with that.
I'm really proud of you for doing that, for just recognizing sometimes I've got to put myself first.
Well, thank you.
I guess the last thing that I'd really like to comment on is your progress in handling the end of your relationship. When we first met, you seemed almost incapacitated with that grief. Because it really is grief. It's the loss of something. It's the death of something. And seemingly that was almost everything we talked about at the beginning went back to Jessica.
And we were together for 3 years, and my whole experience up here, it started with her. And so I really didn't know how to move forward from that.
It's hard not to feel her in every breath.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But now I can hear you talking about your life without her.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll probably feel her for a little while still, but it doesn't hurt as much.
Mm-hmm. I can tell. That much is very obvious to me. So again, progress, relationship, social, academic, family, standing up for yourself.
I guess you really have come a long way.
Yeah. And knowing really how much you have grown and how you can change. Now's not forever.
Yeah, it's just where we happen to be at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for committing to this process with me.
Well, thanks for working with me. I know I wasn't the easiest client starting out.
There you go again with that negative self-talk. You know what? I can tell you that it hasn't necessarily been the easiest for me either, but I've certainly grown, probably as much as you have from this experience. Also, one thing I want to let you know is if I know we addressed this in the first session, but I want to just circle back. If I do see you in public, anywhere in public places, please feel free to come up and acknowledge me. I would love that. But if you choose not to, I won't be offended and I will not approach you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. It's been great to meet you.
Thank you.